You can see everything. You see the feed, you see the chat, you see everything you need to see. And we're live. Good morning. It is Wednesday morning, and that means that we're talking about CNN. No clips, no polls today. We're just going to talk about CNN.
I wish we had some clips because
WTF.
the thing that we want to talk about is the Joe Biden town hall, but for some strange reason, CNN doesn't have it on YouTube, monetized or otherwise. And that's kind of odd. You'd think having a presidential candidate, but presumably the front runner, you'd think that'd be worth having on YouTube, but
yeah.
CNN doesn't seem to think so. Now, there are clips, and interestingly enough, there are even clips where Joe Biden sounds, well, for lack of a better word, presidential. But the whole thing, unedited, so that I can derive my own context, no, that's not there. And that's very strange. Why do you think that is, Chris?
So, this is just like, the Biden town hall, this is just like when they did the climate change town hall and the LGBTQ town hall. They just don't want to put the whole thing out there for everybody to watch. Because the point is not to do the town hall. The point is to virtue signal that they did the town hall. The point is to say, oh yeah, we care so much about climate change that we talked about it for 7 hours. Oh, well, we'd like to see what y'all had to say. Oh, no. Well, if you talked about it for 7 hours, surely you must have, I don't know, expressed a thought, generated some sort of interesting material, had some, expressed some debate. Nope. The whole point to it is to say they did it. Now, specifically with the case of Joe Biden, the point to it is, hopefully that terrible noise will be mitigated after the pop filter arrives today, and I put that sumbitch on this microphone. But the whole point to doing one with Joe Biden is explicitly to prop up Joe Biden as their candidate. So, real talk on Joe Biden as a candidate. He's a garbage candidate. He's a less effective candidate than Hillary. But in fairness, he's also a less abhorrent candidate than Hillary. I mean, let's be real. Hillary was a train wreck of a candidate.
Hey, glass ceilings, dude.
Yeah.
You know what's going to be hysterical is when Nikki Haley runs in 2024 and wins, and then the Republicans break the glass ceiling. Anyway.
So go ahead.
Well, okay. Joe Biden, he's run for president, excuse me, like 3 or 4 times. And let's not forget that the first time Joe Biden ran for president, I think was in the late 80s, and he had to drop out of the race because of plagiarism.
And that's not the only time Joe's been busted, gotten in trouble for plagiarism.
Yeah. If you look at this guy in total context, the fact that he would cheat to get his cocaine-addicted son a job that he's wholly unqualified for.
Well, now, hold on a second. That he cheated to get his unqualified son a politically useful job with an illicit company is alleged. However, that he is known to have cheated categorically and incontrovertibly at a very high level in several other instances, is evidence supportive of the allegation that he cheated to get his son in position and to keep his son from being investigated for that corruption.
Yeah, if you've ever been busted for stealing money out of the cash register, in the future, if money comes up missing, it's just going to be more likely that people are going to suspect you of the crime. Whereas if you've never been busted stealing money out of the cash register, well, that's a whole different story. And since Joe Biden has basically been all over the place, especially with issues like this, where he'll just take credit for something somebody else did, it's a real short stretch. And let's not forget, we have it in his own words where he bragged about, nah, you get rid of the prosecutor or you lose the $1 billion. Now, I just want to do a quick aside. I think all American foreign aid should be quid pro quo. We basically write a check to every single country in the world, and it's largely unconditional. I'm not entirely in league with the libertarians on this one, where they say we should do no foreign aid ever. I think foreign aid should be done, but I think it should come with strings attached. We're going to take hostile nations and we're going to encourage them to stop acting against our interests. And we're going to take friendly nations and we're going to encourage them to work more in line with our interests, or you don't get the money. Say what you will about Israel, and depending on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go, Israel might not be working in line with our interests at all. But that's a whole nother show for a whole nother day when we just want to get this channel wiped out of existence. But Israel, for the most part, does appear to align with our interests, particularly in regards to Middle East policy.
Well,
so
almost exclusively in regards to Middle East policy, but yeah.
Yeah, so giving Israel foreign aid makes sense. But, I mean, I'm sorry, some Central African nation that has communism codified into its constitution and is literally only ever one step or two away from an ethno-nationalist civil war. No, what are they getting our money for again? AIDS research? Just no. So anyhow, the fact that Joe Biden or Donald Trump might have said, no, in order for you to get the foreign aid, you have to do X, Y, and Z. That all by itself, I don't have a problem with. It's like owning a gun, or hell, even like owning a shovel. If I use the shovel to dig holes, well, I mean, it's a shovel. But if I use the shovel to whack people over the head, well, that's a totally different story, isn't it? So if Donald Trump did quid pro quo, just wait, buddy. If Donald Trump did quid pro quo and said, hey, I need for you to investigate this serious corruption, I actually think that's an appropriate use of American foreign aid. If Joe Biden said, yeah, I need for you to give my son a job that's going to pay him $500,000 a year, now we're talking about conflict of interest. And before you say, well, if Donald Trump's quid pro quo goes through as such, it could get Joe Biden in trouble. Well, yeah, if Joe Biden actually did something wrong, then yeah. And let's not forget that Ukraine seems to be the weird nexus point of all of this stuff with the Russia collusion, the Steele dossier. I mean, Paul Manafort is actually going to jail for stuff he did with Ukraine back in the early 2000s. So there's something going on there. There does seem to be a lot of corruption in this country. And the fact that Donald Trump recognizes that and tries to use the leverage that we have to expose it, I mean, what's wrong with that? Anyhow, WTF, CNN. Not trying to go too far off.
Well, and you did get off the track a little bit. Let me on foreign aid. you said you don't support the libertarian position that we should end all foreign aid. That all foreign aid should be quid pro quo. I want to take that just a half step further. Just a half step further than all foreign aid should be quid pro quo. We shouldn't be giving money away for nothing. You know, I'm a firm believer that all charity is dangerous, that all charity is damaging to the recipient. If I had my way, we would end all foreign aid today and then make everybody who wanted to receive foreign aid engage in an application process. You require foreign aid, make your offer. What do you have to offer in exchange? Free markets work, baby. You need money for bullets to defend your citizens against illicit hostile foreign invaders. Sell me something. Sell me a crop. Sell me fuel. Sell me something. But I am sick to death of the world coming and shaking their little tin cups at us. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, capitalism is so super duper evil until they want a slice of the pie. And then, okay, well, I mean, it's blood money, but we'll happily take some of the blood money.
And let's not forget, there is not a place in this world that has socialized medicine which is not subsidized by U.S. tax money, either through foreign aid or through military assistance, and in the vast majority of cases, through both.
Yes.
So you flipping commies out there that want socialized medicine in this country to the tune of $42 trillion over the next 10 years, like Elizabeth Warren's run? Well, if you want to cover the cost of that, a good start would be to stop paying for everybody else to have it. If they want to have socialized medicine, they should be footing their own bill.
Yeah, and it's funny that you bring up socialized medicine because it gives me an opportunity to dovetail this back into Joe Biden. Of the clips that are available from CNN of the town hall that he did, there's one where he actually discusses the criticism that Elizabeth Warren laid against him, her plan, and that 42 trillion number is actually the top end number of the estimation of Elizabeth Warren's plan. Some people say as low as $30 trillion. Other people will go as high as $42 trillion. Hell, let's just call it 30 trillion to make the point. That would effectively double our entire national budget for the next 10 years. Our national budget right now currently is a little more than $3 trillion a year. So, yeah, it basically goes from $3 trillion a year to $6 trillion a year. And Joe Biden...
Let me just... Thing about the budget and the debt. We keep hearing a lot of noise about, you know, while Obama was in office, Republicans talked a lot about the debt, and it was an absolutely fair criticism because he nearly tripled it. Okay, people like to say that Obama doubled the debt. The debt was just barely at $9 trillion when he went in. And when he came out, it was just a little over $21 trillion. So that's more than doubled.
Morning, Gavin.
Hey, buddy.
Love the regular people. Yeah, love the regular people in the comments. We can definitely say hello.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and Cameron, you've got your coffee there, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Gavin, I hope you've got a cup of coffee. We're going to pay just a brief tribute to Scott Adams, who brilliantly predicts the rise and success of... But slow down, Cameron. Slow down. The simultaneous sip on 3, 2, go. A little tribute to Scott Adams. We might start doing that more often. Maybe get his attention. But we hear about the debt. Here's something that I want my viewers to start reminding people of. The U.S. national debt is a figure which is nearly identical to the total cost of the Great Society-generated welfare state since its inception. So let me be very clear about what I'm saying here. There is a solid argument that the U.S. would have no debt at all if we had not instituted a sweeping welfare state. And let me tell you something about a country that has no debt. A country with no debt has very little need of a sweeping welfare state. Little, if any. And in all fairness, no country has a need for a sweeping welfare state. A sweeping welfare state only enables a country to be packed with criminals.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren. A few days ago, Elizabeth Warren basically made some snarky comments about Joe Biden. Didn't call Joe Biden out by name, but it was pretty clear who she was talking about. And Joe Biden, to his credit, seemed to come out of his Alzheimer's fugue long enough to hit back and pointed out that Elizabeth Warren has a very elitist attitude about this. If you like your health care, you should be allowed to keep your current health care model. You shouldn't have somebody else sail in and tell you, I know better than you, so I'm going to decide for you what your health care model should be. Joe Biden's plan is still an eye-popping $700 billion, but it's basically an expansion of the public option. So it'd basically be Obamacare 2.0 with a whole lot more money thrown at the public option. Still think that's not a good idea. Government interference is what created the sharp rise in healthcare costs that we have now. You can go all the way back to FDR and thank him for his wage and price controls for that. But 700 billion versus 30 trillion. I mean, one of those does sound a lot more manageable than the other. I mean, it is what it is. And so I think part of the reason why there was the virtue signal with Joe Biden, why the whole thing's not available online, and why select pieces of it are coming out is I do think it's taken them several years, but I do think the folks at CNN have started to figure out that the problem with your Bernie Sanders, your Elizabeth Warren, your beta, I dropped out of the race, O'Rourke types is that most people are not that far left. And even if they like the platitudes that come out of these leftists, as soon as you drill down even into the first layer of policy and you start hearing numbers like 30 trillion, it's just going to scare people off of voting for these candidates. And so I think CNN is trying to help position Joe Biden as the quote unquote moderate candidate. Now, if our Overton window had not shifted so far to the left as it has, Joe Biden would be seen as firmly on the left. He wouldn't be seen as a centrist. But because we're comparing him to Bernie Sanders, because we're comparing him to Liar Watha, he now appears to be the moderate choice. It just shows you how desperate they are. Because, I mean, how's Joe Biden going to fare in a 2-hour debate with Donald Trump?
Well, his eyes going to bleed, his teeth are going to fall out, and he's probably going to lose consciousness. And then, of course, there will be the gaffe machine that is his small mind. What's up, St. Michael of Cigarillo? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
I'm afraid you're a little late to the party because we're about to run over time and going to have to call it a day. But hey, good to see you, brother. I'm assuming.
Can we check debtclock.org real quick before we go?
Debtclock.org?
Yep.
This one?
That one.
U.S. national. I'd already pulled it up.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so U.S. national debt currently sits at $23 trillion.
So yeah, we're not closer to 30. Um, but yeah, the amount added to the debt since Donald Trump's inauguration is basically the interest.
Well, not only that, but it shows you what a strong economy can do because government spending has gone up under Trump, but because the economy itself has grown every single quarter. Like when you're talking about an economy that measures in the trillions, even a 2-3% growth gives you a lot more money.
And then,
Close-ish.
And here you go, according to the Heritage Foundation, U.S. taxpayers have spent over $22 trillion on anti-poverty programs in the 50 years since its inception. $22 trillion. That looks a lot like, oh, look at that number. Yep.
But yeah, WTF, CNN, if you're going to do something like this, put the whole thing on YouTube. I mean, like, God, keep up with the times. Or quit being such obvious propagandists. I mean, you'd have to fire half your network, but, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got. They did a town hall, and now I can't listen to it because I have a job. I get up early. Like if it comes on after about 9:30, I ain't seeing it. Like we finally got a new episode of Rick and Morty on Sunday, and some bitch came on at 11:30. You know what happened? I watched it the next day. That's what happened there. That's what DVR is for, baby. $8.99 a month, worth every penny.
All right. Well, that's the show. All right, boys. Be safe. Time to go to work. Oh, while I've got you both here, did you watch the new Boomer, the OK Boomer video that I dropped yesterday? Do me a favor, if you haven't already watched it, watch it and leave a comment, like and share. Guys, I need everything I can get. I need all the help I can get. We want to blow this channel up and let it start generating revenue so that we can quit our day jobs and start doing nothing but, shit like the SpaghettiOs video and stuff like the, if y'all remember a couple years ago, we did a pretty big, highly developed episode where we talked about all the complex connections and kind of incestuous relationships between everybody involved in the whole Russiagate investigation. We want to do more stuff like that. Need to blow up the audience, get some more, get some revenue going through this channel. We are still waiting on our confirmation through, what's it called, Subscribestar.
Subscribestar.
And that's all I've got for you today, so.
Come back tomorrow when we talk about Donald Trump Jr.
Yeah. Donnie One Scoop, he wouldn't drop two scoops of Don't Fuck With the Trumps on The View, and good Lord, do we need to talk about that. So y'all be safe, pull your boots on, time to go to work. All right, brother. I'm going to go get a smoky treat. I'll talk to you later.
Yep. I'm going to go to work.